What's up, you guys? SlimXTeamSymmetry here to finally bring you guys a Slim Chat episode. I know it's been a while. It's been a while since I've done actually like a lot of videos with just me in front of the camera. For those of you that do follow me on Facebook, you follow me on here, you guys know that I've been going to the last several YCSs. I had my regionals basically a week after San Diego. I have literally just been gone like every single weekend doing something Yu-Gi-Oh related. And now I finally have a break. I did not go, as you guys can see, to YCS Costa Rica. Some of my friends did, best of luck to them. The event's going on right now. My homie 3Z Inferno, aka Wilson Sang, Paul Empty Jar Cooper, you guys already know. I know there's a million other people that are going. I wish them the best of luck. But I'm here today to do a video. I've been thinking, I haven't had really anything I've wanted to say Slim Chat wise, and then I kept reading a lot of comments on a lot of my previous uploads. You guys know that my previous uploads for the last couple of days, last couple of weeks have been a lot of deck profiles, obviously, since I've been at the YCSs. And the thing is that people are getting tired of seeing the same decks topping. They're tired of seeing Mono Mermail, even though it's not, it shouldn't be called Mono Mermail. They're tired of seeing Water, Fire, Rabbit, Water, Fire, Rabbit. Every time you turn on and look at your favorite channels, what's winning the YCS? It's either you're always seeing the same result. You're always seeing Water winning, you're always seeing Fire Fist coming second, and Macro Rabbit topping, and then every once in a while you'll see some random or just really good decks top the event. Perfect examples of that are the Electrum OTK, Karakuri Synchro, the Ori Calcos Drain that I actually profiled just a couple days ago from my San Jose Regional. It got 3rd place. And that's kind of what this whole episode is going to be about today. It's going to be called The Reality of Yu-Gi-Oh! And the thing is that a lot of people are deciding to just quit. And I know I've talked about this subject before. I'm sure I've gone over this subject a million times. If you look back at some of my past videos, I've talked about how I will never quit the game, how, it would take a lot for me to ever put down the card, etc., etc. And, I still 100% mean that, 100% stand by that. And that's the whole thing that, my channel does, is it tries to inspire people to continue playing the game, even through all the hardship. Now, when I talk about hardship, I mean that there's several factors that lead people to quitting. And the number one thing that I've seen, especially now, is that they're tired of losing to Mermail. Here's just a really honest fact. Mermail is the best deck right now. At this current time, right now, it's the best deck. It's powerful, it's explosive, it's the most consistent, it can OTK out of nowhere. Heavy Megalo Diva is a thing. It happens to everyone, myself included. When we've picked up the deck, we've done the exact same thing. If you guys actually think about it, those of you who have ever tried Mono Mermail and pulled off that play, it feels good to actually OTK the opponent. Let's face it. Some people are like, oh, I don't want to OTK my opponent. But in the back of my mind, in the back of your mind, you're like, okay, I gotta win that easily. It can't be that bad. So a lot of people are quick to say that they don't want to play the deck, they think it's degenerate, all this other stuff. But the thing is, in this game, is that you're not always going to open broken. I ran Macro Rabbit, and I opened Double Cobzol almost all my games, and grinding through with vanillas is a pain in the ass, and you really just have to play your trap cards right. You have to know how to bluff your opponent, you have to know how to save your MSTs and your lances for the plays that really matter, and that can be said for a lot of decks. In Mermail, sometimes you can get awkward hands. I know people are like, it's impossible to get an awkward hand. Well, sometimes you can get 3 Megalos and I don't know, 2 salvage, depending on what build you're running. You can get those really random hands where you don't have the best of plays. And sometimes you get the broke hands. And that's the thing, is that every deck in the game isn't going to open perfect. Every deck in the game is going to sometimes have the nut hands, literally, where you look at your hand, you just think to yourself, I don't think there's anything my opponent can do. I have this game won. But then there are some times when you can open the most broke hand and your opponent will play out of it because they open just as well, or they open the cards that are going to counter every single one of your plays. It happens. It's happened to me. I've seen it happen to many great players. I've seen it happen to a lot of players just in general, is that the way the game is going now is that whoever has the better cards or knows how to play them properly at the right time is going to win. That's really the reality of the game right now. And other things that come into the mix with that is that people are saying, I don't want to have to play Water. I don't want to have to play Fire. I don't want to have to play Macro Rabbit. Well, the thing is that those are the 3 decks that everyone's building and everyone's making, and those are the decks that are topping. If you look at the top 8 list from our San Jose Regional that took place last weekend, Mermail, Fire Fist, Ori Calcos Drain, which was the random, Karakuri, those were the decks that topped. Mostly all Water, because the deck is good. The deck is consistent. The deck is going to win. It has a great matchup pretty much across the board. It can even beat Macro Rabbit. The thing is that Water players are so used to having to fight against Macro that now they're starting to, main deck answers are starting to play differently. They're starting to get around all the lockdown with Deep Sea Diva, which is great. That's the thing, is that decks that are already broken can become more broken by being able to play against that which can beat them. So that's one thing, is that a lot of people are just so quick to say that there's no point in playing against water. I'm always going to lose. There's always a way to beat the deck. Banisher of the Radiance, Macrocosm, all those cards are made and are especially sided now to take down that deck. Same goes for Macrocosm. Everyone's like, I hate Logia set 5. Well, Logia set 5 is a thing that happens a lot. It happens when you play with the deck. It happens when you play against the deck. There's no reason for you to quit the game over that. There's no reason to say that, oh, I don't want that to happen. That's not always going to happen. If you go 10 rounds of Macro Rab and that happens every time, you just got really, really, really unlucky, because that usually never happens. Like at my regional, it was all random decks. One meta deck. It was insane. It was decks you don't even prepare for. You have to read the majority of the cards. And like Pro Winston has always said, if you ever have to read cards, you're already in trouble, because not knowing what decks do is like a downfall. Is that it already gives your opponent an advantage before you've even started the game. If they summon a monster and you have no idea what it does, you're in trouble. The same can be said for Karakuri. Thanks to Desmond. Shout out to Desmond Johnson. You guys already know the Karakuri King. Karakuris are on the map. They're an amazing deck. And, if you don't know what the deck does, and, they just spam out all these cards, you have no response, well, you probably lost. That's how it goes. I've lost to Karakuri, and it's not pretty. The deck's pretty good. Now, we're going to take a shift now. We're going to think about this. This is what's going on in Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. But as you guys already know, that's all about to change. Hidden Arsenal 7, Tacton Galaxy, all the other sets are coming out. New decks are going to take over, and they're going to be the pinnacle decks to play for the format. Those decks are Evilsworn, Prophecy, and in time the Elemental Dragons. Now, I haven't done any research on the Elemental Dragons because they're not out yet, but they are coming out. Now, people have said the baby dragons, I believe is what people refer them to, the small dragons, quote unquote, say that those aren't coming out in the new set, but the deck will be playable in different variants. You'll be able to play it with Heretics, you'll be able to play it with Dragonides. So the deck is going to start to come out, and a lot of people have been stocking up on Gold Sarcophagus, Super Rejuvenation, cards that the deck's already made. If you look at the OCG website, shriek2day.net, what's winning every single tournament they have? Elemental Dragons. Deck's crazy. It can make a turn 1 LADD like it's nothing. There's so many combos that it has that it's going to be a very hard deck to play against. So at that point, it's going to be like, do I play the deck? Do I pick up the deck? Do I invest in the deck? Or do I play a deck that goes against it? That's the reality that every player has to go through whenever the format takes a shift to where new decks start to top and new decks start to take over. I feel that decks like Macro Rabbit and like that are starting to slowly fade out. I feel that a lot less people are using them. Same goes for windups and decks like that. They're good. They're just going to be outclassed by how many other people are going to be using other decks. It's like exactly what happened with Water. Water took over and literally, not to be punny, but literally just took the entire game by storm for the fact that it literally was the best deck. And if you played it, you were in a good position to win. Sometimes you didn't always win. Sometimes you lost to decks you just didn't prepare against. But the majority of the time, Water would win the matches. Now, the next thing is Evilsworn. Evilsworn with turn 1 Ophion and Pandemic Virus is pretty damn good. 2550 and a virus is pretty good. And the one thing is that with the release of that deck, it's shutting down a lot of other decks that people wanted to play. Electromoti K, Karakuri Synchro, Infernity Synchro, all the decks that rely on special summoning level 5 or higher monsters, whether it be through synchroing, etc., are going to take a hit for the fact that Ophion is a thing. Ophion.deck is going to win a lot of matches against you if you're using a deck like that for the fact that you're not able to do anything. They back their deck up with Pandemic Virus. You're not able to do anything. It's pretty good. I'm playing against Evilsworn right now. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to build it, but it's just something I've been looking into. Now, along the lines with that is that deck is going to cause a big shift in the game because a lot of people might be switching from Mono Mermail back to Undyne Mermail. But the fact that Undyne can use heavy infantry and can be able to search stuff out and be able to pop Ophion if they don't have protection for it at the time. Now that's one thing, is that Water isn't going to completely die. Prophecies. Let's talk about Prophecies. You guys already know. My brother Vexy can tell you all about it. I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. The deck's going to be hella nutty when Divine Judgment, or whatever the hell it's called, comes out. I honestly haven't been paying attention because I'm not building Prophecy. It's expensive, and I have honestly no desire to play it yet. If the deck happens to fall on my lap, maybe I'll do it. But I know the deck's going to be amazing. The deck is decent right now. The deck isn't terrible. It's actually pretty decent. Spellbook of the Masters gave it a lot of power, and I feel that with Divine Judgment coming out, the deck's going to be, obviously really, really good. They're going to get a lot of pluses turn 1 if you don't have a Joel and Lockbird or a way to stop them. But I don't think the deck is completely unbeatable. I feel, like I said, Ophion.deck is going to beat the deck for the fact that they can't bring out Priestess. They can pump up their little weenie guys with Spellbook of Power and other stuff, but I feel that Evilsworn, if they start strong, are going to have a better matchup against that deck for the fact that, you know, they're just going to be able to run them over. They're going to use damage to have Lance, other stuff, and they're going to be fine during that matchup. Other things that are going to happen is a lot of people are wanting to pick up Dark World again for the fact that Eradicator, Epidemic Virus, auto kills Prophecy. That's like a fact of life. Problem being, and I've actually tested the deck and put it back away, is that it has a very hard time against Evilsworn. Has a harder time than people thought. Is that if Evilsworn is maining cards that are like Forbidden Dress, other cards like that, Craft is not going to be able to pop anything. If they see Dark World Dealings and they go Chain Dress just to save themselves and have other back row to back it up, they're going to be in a good position. You're going to have a very hard time to get out Grapha. Your only other plays are Tour Guide into Zen Mains and other plays, and they can still shut you down with cards like Fiendish Chain, Valor, other stuff like that. So I feel that a lot of decks that people want to pick up again are good options. They're very good options, but right now, until the meta establishes itself, they're going to have a hard time getting around problem monsters like Ophion, High Priestess of Prophecy, the Elemental Dragons when they come into play, other things like that. And I feel that that's what the reality of the game is right now, is that your best bet is to play a deck you're comfortable with. Your best bet is to decide, you know, am I going to YCSs? Am I going to regionals? Or am I just staying at locals? That's one thing, is that a lot of people need to understand that before they say I'm going to quit this game, they need to realize, where am I playing at? What are my goals? What am I doing? And you see, for myself, I haven't been focusing on the game that much. I've been focusing on my channel. I've been focusing on networking. I've been focusing on learning more about the game and getting to become a better player by learning new things that I didn't know beforehand. Before I even play, it's learning new things. It's learning new things when I watch videos. It's working with websites like Yu-Gi-Oh! Overdose, Alter Reality Games, other stuff like that. That it's teaching me a lot more things before I go in and actually try and play these YCSs, play these events, to better understand plays before I make them, so I don't misplay, so that I learn that if I misplayed, you know, what could I have done to avoid that? What was my better play? That's stuff that people need to understand, is that in order to become a better player in this game, you have to learn from your mistakes, because you're going to make a million of them, and you need to learn and be able to admit you made a mistake and be able to learn from that mistake and correct it. It's basically the facts of life, is that if you want to get good at something, if you want something to work out, it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. You can't rush it. That's not going to really get you anywhere, because if you rush through something, it's not always going to be done to the best of its ability, to the best of your ability. So I feel that taking time to actually learn the game more, play with different decks, play with different strategies will help you become a better player. I feel that that's just my advice. As a Yugi-Tuber, that's my advice. As a player, you don't have to take my advice. But as a Yugi-Tuber and someone who really does care about this game and cares about the game more than actually playing the game at times, and cares about watching the success of other people and watching the success of other channels, other beginner players coming out, that's what I've seen and that's what I've observed, and that's what I think is just really critical at this time in the game, is that there's no real reason to quit unless you have to quit for financial reasons or just you don't care about the game anymore. I perfectly understand that. But saying that you're going to quit because only one deck is winning is kind of foolish, for the fact that right now, like I said, Water's the best deck. Other decks are going to take over. Other decks are going to fall by the wayside. It's an ongoing cycle that happens in the game, and I feel that if players understand that, if they, you know, take a breather, not overreact, they'll be able to get through this. It's getting through the format piece by piece by piece. As new decks get released, other strategies become released. Like I've said before, I think Evilsworn Thunderbird is one of the best cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think I've said that in other videos. One of my favorite cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. It can be used in many other decks. You can use it with Wind Up Wrap, and you can build Chain Beat Lockdown, and you can build decks like that don't cost a lot of money but do pack a punch. So I feel that decks like that have chances of doing well in the format, and other decks have chances of doing well in the format. It just depends on how do you adapt your deck for the upcoming format. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I just wanted to kind of get that off, vent a little bit about that. I just don't want to see people quitting the game because they feel that only one deck is going to win. That's not always the case. It may be the case again. Nationals is going to be like the New Jersey and Nationals, I believe, are going to be like the format for all of this, where everyone's going to find out, you know, how good are these new decks, you know, what do they bring to the board, etc. And then as Tecton Galaxy gets released and other things get released, you'll see a big shift of the meta at Nationals. For those of you that are going to Nationals, you guys already know it's in Chicago, my brother Vexy's hometown, so you guys already know that I'm going to be there with everyone, and it'll be great to see everyone there. But that's just like a little idea of what's happening in the game right now and what you can do to, you know, to stay in the game, to prepare for what's to come, and what you can do to remain playing the game. And that's what I feel is what's important, is that don't quit the game because you feel one deck is only going to win, because that's not always true. There's always an out to every card in the game. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. You know, please comment below with your honest thoughts. I really enjoy your guys' feedback. It gives me something to learn from. It gives me something to read to improve my videos. It gives me something that I can really just, you know, take to heart when people say, I do this because I do this, etc. You guys already know what I'm talking about. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You know, thumbs it up. I haven't done an episode like this in a while, so sorry I was a little long, but I'm sure if you guys watch the whole thing, you'll understand the message. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thumbs it up, and thank you for watching.